Welcome to the only real estate podcast worth listening to, with your hosts Nick Good, Matt Kelderman, and Brian Force. Combined, they have 26 years of experience and have sold over 1,500 homes. Join them each week as they bring you everything you need to know about real estate. And now, here are your hosts, Nick, Matt, and Brian.
What's up, everyone?
What up?
We have a great show today. It's just us.
I just want to point out at the top that Nick just demolished like a Venti Starbucks and then poured half an energy drink into his mug within 10 seconds.
I was about to say that.
We were talking about this weekend. Slight side note, are energy drinks the cigarettes of our generation?
I think they are, man.
Yeah.
Like, because
are we
they
all
really,
screwed
when you were
20
younger,
years?
you were cool if you drank Red Bull.
Yeah.
Now I'm like that old man that can't stop, and everybody else is vaping, which I guess is like kombucha or something.
I don't know, man.
It's like the healthier alternative, but I'm not into that. I'm still like a grown 31-year-old man that drinks Red Bull every day.
I knew Red Bull was bad for me in 2001 when it came to sips in Ames, Iowa. Shout out to my Iowa peeps. And we used to drink copious amounts of it and couldn't really remember anything the next day. I was like, that's not good to have that much uppers and downers in yourself at the same time.
You know it's been one of those weeks when I'm just running on caffeine fuel.
Yeah.
And this has been a kick in the crotch week,
Whew.
for sure.
Yeah.
But we've got a great show today. We are talking about, and it's not going to be boring, I promise you. So tune in. You know, if you're tuning in live, drop some comments down below. Give us a fist bump. Love it, like it. Share this out. Tag an agent in there. We want to really get this engagement out there, right? We're really growing. We've had a ton of people, subscribing either to YouTube. So if you're watching this on YouTube, drop a comment down below. If you're listening to the recording on iTunes, leave us a review, subscribe.
Download it.
Get
those downloads up.
Yeah. And today we're talking about knowing your numbers. Is it important? Some of us,
For some.
Some of us will say yes, and some of us will say no. Or what numbers in your business are truly important to know. Also, Matt just got back from Project U and something about going to a spin class and how that will make you more money in your business.
Spin classes and yoga.
Did you said you committed to a triathlon as well?
I committed to a half Ironman in September.
Did you know you were going to commit to that?
Well, you get in the room, everybody's hyped up. The thing about, and we'll get into this a little bit, the thing about those environments is it's so nurturing for personal growth. And then you come back to the real world and you're like, oh, there's problems and it's really bright and annoying here.
I've spent 2 decades of my life fighting people for sport. And I don't think I would even approach a half Ironman.
Here's the cool thing about it, and I'll get into it in a minute. It has nothing to do with competing with other people. This is strictly Matt, can you make Matt do something Matt fundamentally probably doesn't want to do?
Right.
So this is where all my different personalities get to have a conversation with themselves in my head about whether or not I can actually do this.
Oh, yeah.
So, and we'll be answering questions live, too, about the numbers thing. I think that's important because Nick and Brian are really good on their numbers. So if people have comments or things about anything we're talking about, we're going to be firing off questions live, too, or responses live. So if you have anything, fire those off today.
Absolutely. So drop an L in the comments if you're watching it live. And I know that Matt's wife is the first one to tune in and comment. Jennifer, please share this out. And you're about to be newly licensed. So
we got good wife support on this show.
Yeah, for sure.
We're supposed to bring up that there may be, the wives are planning this, the only real estate podcast worth listening to, Mexico trip.
Yep.
So shout out to them. But let's get into it. So knowing your numbers, why is this important?
Yeah.
Right. So let me throw out some of my numbers right now. Right. So I just pulled these just before the show started. We're up in closed transactions by 9.68%, right? Now, our closed volume is only up by 0.63%, less than 1% in our closed volume's up. Our listings taken for the year is up 2.7%. But this is where it gets really interesting, right? Our buyer business, our closed buyer volume is up 91.5%, right? This is not something I'm used to.
That is market conditions right there.
We are down 35.99%. and closed listing volume. So what this means is that our agents who are taking a good amount of getting a lot of sellers hiring them is that they're experiencing a longer delay in getting under contract. And so why this week's been a kick in the crotch is that we've been let go by 2 sellers. One was on the market and one before they were on the market because they felt like there was a little bit of some shortened confidence. They didn't have confidence in our ability to correctly price their home or whatever that reason may be. And the other one that was on the market said that we weren't doing our job to get their home sold. even though they were priced about $10,000 too high as the market started to correct over there in their particular area, and they wouldn't do a price adjustment.
Yep. Right.
So this is the new norm that we're going to really start facing. Is we're going to start facing, how do you predict where your business is going to be this year and next year, and predict your revenue, right?
So why is that important to know? Tell me, just start with the top two numbers, right? You're up almost 10% in closed units, but less than 1% in closed volume. Why do you need to know that?
Well, here's my thing. That means that one is my average price point going down.
Right.
Right. So and we kind of prepared for this in our business planning at the end of 2018, we were planning for a little bit of a lower average sales price. Now this tells me it's a lot lower than what we were really predicting.
Yeah. Right.
So some of those higher end listings are sitting. That $400,000, $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 one. It also tells me that maybe we're not pricing correctly. Yeah. Right.
Right.
That's a little bit on us as well. And as a team owner, if you're going to build a team, this is important because, when you really look at the overall volume, is you're going to have to service these listings longer. So, you have a cost associated with servicing, a client longer.
Right.
And also, typically in most real estate teams, buyer's agent commissions are typically a little bit on the higher side for the agent, and so that means it could mean less company revenue coming in. So you need to make sure that you plan your revenue accordingly.
100%. So you're up 91%.
91 and a half.
91 and a half in buyers. So how does that change your agent's activities every day?
So what we're focusing on is we started to implement a weekly listing review, where we're going to have our operations team that negotiates our seller's listing.
Right.
They are now going to every Wednesday have a hour-long meeting to talk about do we need an adjustment here? How much of an adjustment? What do we need to do differently to get this client's house sold?
Right.
Right. And so those are some of the questions that are being asked. Is if my home's on the market for, let's say, 60 days or 40 days or whatever, are you going to do anything different in your marketing to get my home sold?
Right.
You better have an answer for that, right?
Yeah, right. That's the thing. And we weren't asked those questions over the past 3 years.
No.
I mean, Matt, have you ever been really asked that question?
No, I've been on the market since it's been hot, right? So I don't get asked that question very often. We're getting asked a lot more now. I'm noticing that you have to be a little bit more comfortable having honest, fierce conversations with sellers right now about what their expectations are versus the offers that are actually showing up at their front door. I've got one right now. They keep kicking solid offers off to the side, and it's just going to get worse, right? I can't get them to sign anything.
Really?
So, yeah, I mean, and again, I think that's part of their process, and we haven't been on a long time, so I'm allowing them to kind of live that out. But you have to do a lot more from a marketing standpoint than I think you did before. I just left a listing appointment. They bought 2 houses from me in the past 6 years. And I said, guys, selling this house is going to be totally different. Yeah. We're not in the same market where it's Lake Highlands. You put a house on the market and 5 days later you got people fighting over it. Like, that's not going to be the case.
Well, I mean, it's been one of the only times where I wouldn't say walked away from listings. I've walked away from appointments knowing that I probably didn't get the listing, being comfortable with it because I wouldn't bullshit you about the price. So I was just at a listing appointment 2 days ago in what Nick would call the old people neighborhood that I farm. I was with some old people. And I mean, they had lived there for 20 years. Their home just didn't. It didn't have any of the upgrades that was pretty customary in the neighborhood. That is pretty customary in the neighborhood now. They were probably going to get about $6 or $7 a square foot less than what the neighborhood average is. I sold 3 houses just on their street alone, so I know the neighborhood like the back of my hand. And when I told them my pricing opinion, they said they had talked to a bunch of their agents and this and that. They said they had gotten a whole spectrum of pricing. I gave them my opinion. Their eyes went wide as if I had just punched their dog in the face. And, I said, look, if all I need to do to earn your business is tell you a higher price, I'm fine doing that. You tell me what price I need to tell you. I'll tell you I'm okay with it. And then I'll have a conversation with you every week about how we had this conversation. And I gave you my original pricing opinion, which was much lower than that.
I love that game.
Like, I don't want to lose this listing just because you want to overprice. Because everything else, they were fine. I mean, they loved our marketing strategy, all that type of stuff. They wanted more money. And I said, if you want more money, list it for more. I'm still going to bug you every week to drop the price. But if you're listing it with another agent just because they're telling you that it's worth more money, best of luck to you. I'm totally fine with that. And if I'm going to lose a listing because of that, and as long as I've done my best to have that conversation with you, that's probably a seller that I wasn't going to be able to please anyway. and I'm probably better off going and lead generating my ass off to go get 2 or 3 more listing
Or
appointments.
tell them, all right, hire that other agent, but don't do any price reductions.
Right.
Because if they promise you that price, they better stick to it.
Yep.
And then if they
Yeah,
can't
that's
get
the only
you that,
reason you hire them.
then
yeah.
you come back to me.
Yep. 100%.
Right? So you got to start creating that doubt. What numbers, like Matt, we talked about this.
Yeah.
This is why we even brought this up.
Yeah.
Is I said, who knows their numbers, right? I mean, we track these, and you had mentioned you don't necessarily track your numbers all the way. So what do you do to kind of get a pulse on your business?
So I guarantee if Becca was watching this or somebody
you're
inside
gonna be in
her,
trouble.
Yeah, somebody inside her could fire off my numbers me in 2 seconds. So they are
there you
being
go.
tracked at a super high level. I'm just not overly concerned with it. Again, I like to feel it. I feel the buyers having more leverage, right? Like I feel like the pulse I have on the market is because I'm still actively helping so many clients. I'm out there with them every day. I'm feeling the market shifting day to day.
Right.
If you look at my CSS showing report, I've got showings almost every day. We'll leave here today. I'll go show 3 more. I showed some before this. So while that's not the greatest substitute for numbers in my business, because I think as a business owner, I need to know my numbers better around profitability specifically.
Right.
Because you brought up something that was great on commission splits between buyer and seller deals. Right? Those are different company dollar deals that we're making. That's where it's affecting profitability for me, the CEO. Matt, the agent, I know what's going on.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to sell 70 houses this year.
Well, it's
right?
a good point because, and this is for all you individual agents out there. How many times have we felt like we've had a good, solid few months, and then we look at our bank accounts and look back and be like,
What the hell?
why do I have the same amount of money in there that I did 4 months ago?
Yeah.
Like, you're not tracking the profitability of your
profitability's not there.
business, right? It costs money to run a business. If you don't know what that number is, you're pretty much just running on the hamster wheel. So
Look at all the agents freaking out right now about this Realtor.com to OpCity thing. There's an agent in one of our groups that we were messaging with that was like, I don't know what I'm going to do about my business. How's this changing? I was like, dude, if you're just now figuring out that paying for Realtor.com and Zillow leads is not the way to build your entire business, you might be a little too late trying to figure that out.
So let's for people that don't know, explain to us what happened with Realtor.com.
So OpCity is a really, some people have mixed feelings about it. I like cold internet leads, but you pay a monster referral form on the back end.
Yeah.
The price point of OpCity leads is not incredibly high, but it comes in very efficiently. You claim an OpCity lead, you get a phone call from a dude about 2 minutes later, they connect you on the phone, the client is ready to talk. It should be hot as hell from a communication standpoint.
Right.
And then it's your job to nurture it from there. But it sounds like because Zillow, Realtor.com are tired of agents paying for their leads, not converting them, and then saying these leads suck.
Well, I was
They're
about to
taking that
ask you
under
that.
control now.
Why do you think is the biggest reason that Realtor.com went to OpCity?
Well, because, I mean, to make money back, I would imagine, right?
Well,
They're losing too much
probably,
money.
because how many complaints do you think Realtor.com gets from consumers that goes, I clicked on this form an hour ago,
Yep.
and no one's called me?
OpCity's call time is 4 seconds.
Because the thing is, most people don't really understand.
Yep.
The consumer doesn't understand when they they fill out that form or they click that button. They think that someone from Realtor.com might call them or whatever. You know what I mean?
They think they're contacting a listing agent.
Right. They
That's
don't
who
understand.
think they're
They
calling
don't
every time.
understand that it goes out that way, and so they blame Realtor.com, and so they're finally sick of it. And they brought in a third-party vendor that professionally goes and contacts these people as quickly as possible.
Well, it's not even that, though. So you've got the consumers complaining, which is probably a little bit less than who else is complaining. You're buying a lead from Realtor.com. You're calling these people. They're not answering, or a bogus number, and you're like, these leads are shit.
Right, and then you just give up.
I'm spending X amount, blah, 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 and I'm not getting a return.
Yeah.
Well, when did you call them? Well, I called them, your average response time is 24, 48 hours. No, you already lost them.
They're long gone.
They're already
forgotten
they're
about
in
you
someone
in
else's,
that house.
Yeah, they're in someone else's net.
Yeah, and they were
Right.
gone 5 minutes after they sent that lead, right? You're just you're hoping to shake a couple of them out. So it makes sense, but I think agents who have their whole business built around, I give Realtor.com $2,500 a month, they give me X amount of leads, I go convert them. It probably an ROI that the agent's lying to themselves about.
Oh, it's got to be.
Right, like they're not really converting at a high enough level to most agents to really justify the expense.
What was like
of
the
those.
average Zillow lead cost like over $100 or something
When
like
I
that?
left Realtor.com in early 2016, I finally let my last year-long contract expire. There was a month where I paid $1,500 and I got 15 leads.
So yeah,
It was $100 a lead.
Yeah, I don't doubt it.
And
That's
they
what's
weren't that
about-
hot.
It's about
you know?
what I used to get.
And so the new setup now is: are you still paying for leads, or are you just assigned to a program?
So we already had access to OpCity separately, right? So I dumped Realtor.com years ago. So our OpCity lead, it's candy for the agents. We look at it. Look, the agents who really want to hustle on our team will pay a referral fee. Tanner on our team is like me. He's a unit whore. I don't care about price point. Give me units. because at the end of the day, that stacks up more people that you can do business with, more
100%.
opportunities for referrals. I'm not really super concerned about the price point like I was early in my career when I was only selling 15, 17 houses. I have a goal to sell 6 houses a month right now.
Yep.
Your price point's going to suffer if you're moving that many units, right?
Yeah.
And so you're essentially looking at it. And here's the other thing I would say. If you're one of those agents out there that's discounting your commission anyways, first off, you're a jackass. Stop it. Secondly, OpCity lead is essentially a 1% discount.
Right.
That's what it is. It's the same thing with the referral game that you and I play agent to agent, right? That's essentially a 1%, a 0.75% discount every time that I'm paying in order to have that lead exclusively and be the only one working with it with no nurture time.
Yeah.
So now the job is to go out and close it quickly, because what you can't do is show those people 40, 50
You can't take
houses.
3 months to convert these people.
No, they got to go.
Yeah, 100%.
So comment down below your thought on whether it's Realtor.com, Zillow, Trulia Leads. What is your thought on it? Do you subscribe and pay for Realtor.com, Zillow, Trulia Leads? I, for one, am not. I don't participate in any of that.
Have you though? Have you done it in the past?
I have
with
done,
the big boys.
Here's what I'll say: I've done some Zillow that we weren't successful with, and I was really successful with Trulia before Zillow bought them with their seller evaluation.
I heard everybody was doing that.
And then they conned me once Zillow bought them. They conned me into saying, "Oh, switch your account over to Zillow. It's all the same thing," and it wasn't. It was kind of crap leads, and so we just stopped doing it. Now I know several people I can name a handful of people that are getting a great return from Zillow, but
What's their spend?
I mean, they're spending $12,000, $15,000, $20,000 a month, right? They've got lenders that kind of help support it. But what I will say to that though is that they run a different model than I do. They're more handcuffed to their business in terms of they need to make sure that they get connected with that lead right away, right? Otherwise, it's gone. So speed to lead on that one truly wins. If not, now that $100 lead that you bought is null and void, right? They're gone. And so we just aren't set up for that unless we ran a better ISA, inside sales agent model, that we put someone on salary. And then if you do that, now that $100 lead goes up because now you have to run a cost of your inside sales division. Then you're going to hand it off to your agent. Now there's a split with that, right? And so now that $100 lead costs you maybe $1,000.
Yeah.
I mean, and so I wouldn't want to participate in that. Plus, now we're so far behind in Zillow. I don't know how you guys are.
Yeah,
but in terms of our Zillow reviews and getting our Zillow profile up, I mean, there's people so far ahead of that. It would be like running on a treadmill. We're not getting any ground.
Yeah, 100%. I think that when you are one of those 3 or whatever people, you've really got to be competitive as far as your reviews and how your profile looks. Because the people that are spending big money, like I think you and I have a mutual friend with Remax that spends over $10,000 a month, and she kills it. But she's also got like 300 something reviews on there, and she gets more leads because she's going to be the attractive agent on there.
Yeah.
Though, I mean, we made this is a little bit of we're taking a little detour, a little side route to where we're trying to get to, but we've made a commitment to Google reviews. So we're about to break the 100 review mark.
Nice.
And these are legit reviews. Zillow are not legit reviews in my opinion. I could have you, Brian, you, Matt, leave me a review because we talked real estate, and now that's a verified review. So I think a lot of that is just crooked bullshit.
Yeah.
The consumer like Zillow, though, that's why it's important too. I think Google and Zillow are the places to focus, and then Facebook being the third one, just for that social proof part of it.
100%.
Yeah. So Matt or Brian, tell me, what numbers do you focus on? What is most important to you in terms of how you track your business?
So what we track, I would say what's most important to us, those numbers are obviously incredibly important. I think I take more of Matt's approach in feeling the market rather than it would take me a little digging to get as granular as you have on percentage changes in production and buyer and seller volume and things like that. I care about what my agents are doing, because at the end of the day, I am a fiduciary to my agents, meaning that it's my job to not only give them resources and guidance and coaching and systems and structure, it's my job to make their activities as fruitful as possible. And so one, there's an accountability factor, right? When you join my team, really any of our teams, we can accommodate any goal structure, really. I don't care if you want to sell 5 houses a year or 50 houses a year. I can tell you how to do it. And I will hold you accountable to the activities that are going to go into making that happen. And that's what we're going to track. And we track those for 2 reasons. One, so I know you're doing it. because if you're going to come bitch at me about the quality of leads or this or that or the market or this or that, and I look at your metrics, your KPIs, and you haven't lived up to your end of the bargain, that's going to fall on deaf ears with me. And then 2, I need to know how things are changing, right? So we track dials, contacts, appointments, obviously conversion rates, things like that. Track open houses and conversions a little bit differently than we track dials and things like that. But those are the main things that we track. I track your daily activities, how many people you're talking to, where they're coming from, so on and so forth. And the reason that we track all of those things is we look at how they operate in relation to one another, right? So back to, 6 years ago, when all you had to do was buy Mojo and you could just crank out badass expired calls all day, you were getting a ton more pickups, because the world just operated, the way we connected with each other just operated a little bit differently back then. 2, there were better conversations, more expireds out there. That's starting to change again, and nowadays that's not the case, right? So if I'm tracking dials to contacts now and I know where those dials are coming from, now I can advise my agents, hey, like I had a long talk with them a couple weeks ago. I was like, why the fuck are you guys spending 3 hours a day calling expireds when we've got incoming leads that you haven't gotten to yet? Or you've got 1,500 nurtures per agent in the database right now. I don't care if you haven't talked to those people in 6 months or if they haven't responded to you or whatever. Pause. Or if they haven't responded to you or whatever. If you have to make, 80 dials on a dialer to get one expired on the phone, that's an obvious shift in that sort of metric, right? I care about how many contacts you make, right? So if our dials to contacts is going way up, I need to know what our activities are, right? Yeah. If we're spending 3 hours a day calling expireds and FSBOs and our dials to conversion or our dials to conversations is going way, way up, then we're going to stop doing that. We're going to go focus on, I'm going to go pound the database with a ton of Facebook leads or whatever it is, and we're going to call them. And then we're only going to have 3 dials to every pickup, right? And so that's why I track that type of stuff, because activities are not universal and linear across the board. They're going to change. They're ever evolving. What works today will not work tomorrow, and vice versa. And I was really bad about sticking with the same approach for a very long time until I did start tracking my numbers. And I can tell you right now, from somebody who's done nothing but door knocking and cold calling for the first 3 or 4 or 5 years of his career, what that looked like back then, compared to what I would have to do now to get those same results, is night and day. Yeah. I don't think I could sell nearly as many expireds today as I could 8 or 9 years ago. There's no possible way.
And I think that comes back to what you were talking about earlier, controlling the things you control, right?
So those are what we were, if you don't understand what leading and lagging indicators are, right? So everything you just hit on, Brian, and you got choked up about. I mean,
I told you they were the cigarettes of our generation.
Exactly.
Get you on a breathing machine.
Yeah. CPAP for you.
Yeah. And so, leading and lagging indicators is everything that we're talking about. And even Matt, with you not knowing your numbers and you're kind of feeling it out, deep down, once we talk about this, you'll be like, yeah, shit, this is what you're feeling, right? So leading and lagging indicator. A leading indicator are things that you can control. It's that, for example, in the real estate business, that is door knocking. That is how many people you can call. How many handwritten letters, and it's your output, right? A lagging indicator is things you can't control. We can't control how many people actually answer the door or answer the phone. A lagging indicator is contracts and commissions. We can't necessarily control that portion. What we can do is we can do a lot of upfront work and hope that that listing goes under contract and they don't terminate during the option period, or that they don't lose their job right before closing. Right. Those are things that are out of our control. So the definition is they're easy. A lagging indicator is easy to measure, but hard to improve or influence. Right. The leading indicator, we can easily improve those. Those are really our daily output actions.
Right.
Right. And so if we focus on in my world, in the prospecting world, let's make more calls, right? Or if you want to go door knock, let's go door knock. We're implementing some door knocking programs as well for expired listings, and we can control how many people we text.
Yep.
You know, you, Matt, you're a relationship guy. You can control how many people you invite to lunch or to a happy hour or whatever. You can't control that they're going to come.
Right.
Right? That'd be cool if you could.
Yeah. Which, by the way, we have a client event this Saturday, so if you signed up, please come. And we still have a few spots left. So.
And let's talk about those clients a little bit. You know,
I think they're great.
Yeah.
You know, I know you, and honestly, it's not that you wrote the client event idea, but you guys do.
The credit.
You guys do such great client events, and then like you know what Van Pool Properties does for their clients, just being such a massive referral-based business. We're kind of doing our first real one is Herg this weekend. You know, we've got a movie theater. We're screening Dumbo. It's very family friendly. It's a newer movie. We were going to do Into the Spider-Verse, but they don't have that one's out already.
Walk me through your thought process on this, and specifically, I want to see if we're similar.
Yeah.
What are your fears doing this?
Two things. One, that nobody shows up. And nobody showing up hurts me two ways. It hurts my little need to please soul that nobody wants to come, right?
The little Matt.
Yeah, the little Matt. And then secondly, this shit ain't free, right? Like, so somebody doesn't show up and you're stuck with the bill of that. And I've done a client event that had about 12 or 14 clients show up to it. And it was at this really cool, it was Rocket Fizz down in Deep Ellum. It was this really cool candy store. We had a photographer there. Right. You know, but I got in better relationship with the people who showed up. And did I get business from it? I'm sure I did. So for me, for instance, we have a listing coming off the market, right? But a client called me yesterday who was a referral from that listing that's coming off the market from years ago. And she had a buyer referral for me out of nowhere, right? So it was almost business for business. Right. And that stuff tends to happen to me a lot. And I think it's because of the client events. So while I have that fear around them, that nobody's going to show up or that it's going to be kind of a bust or whatever, I'm excited to do them because those are the things for me that they have a much bigger impact. What did Bailey say last week? You posted one of the videos about it. Around, I would rather have you call and tell somebody's labradoodle happy birthday than pound 10 expireds that are all going to want to kill you, right? That's me all day long.
100%. Well, that's probably one of the reasons that somebody like Nick is so much more concrete in the way that they track things, because it is really hard to formulate a metric by which you can sort of track your relational style.
When it's hard to find their labradoodle's birthday.
Yeah.
Not if you ask open-ended questions.
There you go. Yeah. At the same time, normally the things like that you're talking about to build those relationships are completely free.
Yeah. They're time consuming. And here's the thing that a lot of agents, I think this is where agents screw up with how they value their time. Everybody thinks their time is too valuable to go work a $100,000 lead, which bullshit it isn't.
No, it's
right.
not.
Like it's not, especially if you don't have deals on the board. Right. Your mama thinks you're valuable, but in the world of real estate, if you got nothing on the board, you ain't worth nothing. Right. So there's that. But then they overvalue, or they overvalue their time on the front end and undervalue their time when you look at the long term of it. My thing is, this is it. Yep. There's no career change for me. I'm going to grow in this career into something else, but there's nothing else to go to. So I've got time to nurture these relationships for 1 or 2 years.
I've already done 2 leases this year.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah.
I blew the money on this Yankees chain.
I know. I wonder where you got your Mr. T starter set today.
I do this every opening day.
I love it, dude.
I wear this.
It's fantastic.
It's the one day a year I get.
So if you're
my wife polished this with toothpaste this morning.
Nice.
If you're listening to it on iTunes, Brian has his big Yankees chain on.
His glittery gold Yankees hat.
Yes, the Yankees hat.
So terrible.
In honor of opening day tomorrow.
If you weren't from New York, that'd be so annoying.
Oh, but if I was in New York, people would be loving it right now.
Oh, people would love you to death.
Let me ask a question real quick, non-real estate related. But the golden doodle or labradoodle, overrated dog? If you think it's an overrated dog, if you love this dog, press 1 in the comments. If you're watching this on Facebook, 1 in the comments, or 2 if it's overrated. If you're on YouTube, just drop the comment. If you're on iTunes, leave us a review.
I would say difficult dog to groom in the sense that it still looks like a show dog. One snuck up on me at the dog park this weekend, and he was disgusting. But I don't think it was his fault.
That's an owner issue.
Yeah, it was his
Dirty
owner's.
dog is owner issue every time.
It had a lot of potential. I think it's more about owner care.
I prefer the mutt over the hybrid.
I already knew my wife would put 1 in there, so I commented right now. So I am hosting this. We're hosting this, and we're dropping in comments.
We did.
It is a 2. Jennifer, it's not a 1.
Jennifer didn't even want the dog we have. She sure as hell's not going to rate somebody else's dog a 1.
She did. Wait, Jennifer, your wife rated a 1.
Oh my God.
So again, labradoodle, golden doodle dogs, are they overrated or do you love them? If you love them, 1. If they're overrated, 2. Comment down below.
We did DNA tests on both of our dogs a couple months ago.
Found out they were both still dogs.
I did. Well, that was surprising because one of them
They're not
is
yours.
an idiot.
One of them has a father in Scotland. You found out the ancestry.
Exactly. No, I thought that one, we'd always told everybody that one of them was a boxer and Shar-Pei mix. Turns out he's Pitbull Shar-Pei. And I guess he got wind of that because he is walking around like he is the fucking toughest dude in the world now. Just jumping up on the couch with no regard for anybody. Won't come inside when we call him.
But this is where knowing your numbers is key.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, now he's like, I'm 60% this.
Yeah.
I'm a badass.
I'm way
totally
too tough for
different
you.
persona now.
That's funny.
We've got about, 10 minutes left?
I don't know. What do we got in there, Derek? Flash us a sign. 10 minutes.
10
All right.
minutes. What do you guys want to do?
Let's just hang out.
Let's just hang
Yeah,
out.
let's drink some Monster and Red Bull.
Yeah, just get all jacked up.
Matt, kind of talk to us about this Project U, because I saw it being advertised. You told us that you were going. You made a comment about how this was going to be life changing.
Yeah.
You did your first spin class, and you had some fucked up looking hair on this live video you did. So if you want to go look at that, go to Matt's Facebook page.
Yeah, no haircut for 2 months.
There's nobody that makes a live video as compelling, I think, as you do.
Well, I'll take that. I don't know
You
if it's-
did the one from the Philadelphia airport. And by the way, my dad is a pilot for American Airlines for over 30 years. And just your raw energy in the video, even I was like, man, fuck American Airlines.
Exactly. The worst part about it was, too, I didn't even say that video, and I should probably shout her out now. Jennifer had to listen to me for 20 minutes before I calmed down enough to go live.
That
It
was just
still
therapy,
hot.
was to do the
They
live
wouldn't let me in
video.
the Admiral's room or club or whatever. I didn't get any free shit. But shout out to Stephen Crawford's mom, who is the most amazing lady. She photoshopped in some birds.
There you go.
Because there were birds in the terminal, so she made me look like I was not a liar about the birds. So she gets a shout out on this one for doing that. Here's the thing. That's actually the perfect segue into Project U, because the travel there sucked. And not like I was going to hop on a plane and turn around and come back, because that just would have been expensive and stupid.
Right.
But it could have tainted the whole trip. If you're one of those pessimistic people who was like, God, I signed up for this thing and it's kind of stretching me thin already, and I'm leaving my family. It's early in the morning. And I'm stuck in Philadelphia for 8 hours.
Garbage airport.
Garbage airport. Garbage football team.
Garbage people.
I'll leave the people alone. Somebody in Philadelphia might be watching. Your football team sucks. But either way, so we had that was the first test of the mindset thing for me, right? Just still being excited to get there. I was exhausted. The Project U schedule was not changing for me the next morning. I had to be up at 5 o'clock in the morning to go do yoga. That was the first day. Here's what it was about for me. I'm a person who doesn't. I've always thought willpower. I didn't think it was a real thing. If you didn't have it, you weren't going to get it, right? And I had told people, there's people who watch this who knew me back when I tell them, like, look, that's just not something that I can do. I don't have the willpower for that, so I'm going to skip it.
Right.
That's very similar to saying, this is just the way I am. Or,
Right.
you know, like the people who are always late. You know I'm always late. No, bullshit, you're inconsiderate, bro. Like,
Right.
you can, leading and lagging indicators, you can control your ass being
Just
on
a
time.
rude person.
Yeah. So, like, if you ever find yourself saying, this is just the way I am, or I can't change who I am, you're skirting really close to the edge of something that is your problem and you're making it somebody else's problem. So I had some stuff like that, like I think everybody does. And trying to get control over it over the years has been something that I haven't had a ton of success with. But now, as I've started working out with Steven and I have more control fitness-wise, it's changed my mindset to believe, hey man, you can really kind of do anything.
Right.
So I wanted to be in this really cool, nurturing environment with people that some of them I knew, some of them I didn't, to focus on mindset stuff. And you guys know how much I dislike that word, but
Right.
I think it was a really, really great weekend of, and it's a year-long deal too.
And this is not a cheap program. So
No, and to be fully candidly, I mean, look, it's $2,000 a month. It's a real invest in myself, and that's not including quarterly flights up there, right?
Right.
Not including some of the other stuff that I'm now going to purchase because I signed up for a half Ironman in Lake Placid in September, right? So there's an equipment cost that comes along with that.
Do you have to wear like the unitard?
Oh yeah, you had to wear like the full thing, which they all tell me like the first time you get in it, you feel like you're going to suffocate, and I'm like, oh, fucking cool, like.
But only some people do.
Yeah. So, but here's the thing is, I think the idea of signing up for something that makes you want to quit every 5 minutes is a really great testament.
Yep.
Adam said something this last time. He's like, you swim 2.4 miles, you bike some ungodly amount of miles, and then you get to run a marathon at the end. And there's certain points in it where you're like, hey, seriously, just get to that tree.
Yeah.
Right? And those little victories, that's where my growth is right now. Like I was telling you guys before the show, I've fixed the stuff that's way off direction.
Right.
I fixed the stuff when I was supposed to be going left, I was going right. I'm in the right general direction, but my course still gets my mindset still gets distracted a lot.
Right.
So it's a big focus on that.
So like, and I want to ask you about this because obviously this is a huge financial investment for you. My two big knocks on coaching, as somebody who's been a coach, a productivity coach before, I think there's only two things that really make people fail in coaching, right? One is just a lack of alignment with the coach, right? It's got to be a fit. The second is I think that people expect results solely for the action of signing up.
Yeah.
Right. And I'll be honest, I was guilty of it early in my career. I signed up for $1,000 a month coaching program like my second year in real estate, and I got nothing out of it.
Yeah.
And I wanted to blame everybody else at that point. The reality is, looking back, I don't think I got anything out of it because I wasn't ready to.
Yeah.
Right. Like I didn't have a vision for where I wanted to take this, a singular unified vision of this is the outcome that I am looking for, and I'm committed to these daily actions every single day. I sort of just went into it saying if I wrote a check for $1,000 a month, they would tell me they would create the vision for me.
Yeah.
Right. Like somebody would give me a book with a vision in it. And I'd be like, well, this is my life now. Now I just got to do that, right? And so how do you know when you're ready to invest a considerable amount of money in a coaching program? How in your opinion, how is it that you get to the point, or when do you know where you're at the point where you're like, I am on the right course now. Now I'm ready to take full advantage of this?
So for me, it was a couple of things. And I think one of the things that you said that I think is really key is when we're in our 20s, a year seems like it's so long.
Oh, yeah.
A year feels like forever because part of being in your 20s is you think you're an adult, but you've really only been out of the house for like 5 or 6 years.
Right.
So you really don't know what the hell's going on still, right? But a year seems so long. At 40, I'm now experiencing years very quickly.
Right. So
signing up for a year-long coaching program and letting it do its thing is I no longer expect the quick result. I think that's part of it. 100% you have to be ready. So the alignment with the coach. Adam is the coach in this. There's a lot of other people being involved in it.
Right.
But we've known each other now for 15 months on a pretty close level. So there's that aspect of it. And I already had my epiphany around somebody coming to save me. And I brought it up at Project U, and I've said it to you guys off camera, and I've said it to my wife, and I've said it to a lot of people. I realized about 6 months ago, I thought HRG DFW is like a prime location, right? We're an awesome market. We're in a market to sell 300 houses.
Yep.
I figured, hell, just having an office in Dallas would be a prime asset for somebody like Adam. So if I start floundering, he'll send somebody down to rescue me. They won't let this fall apart.
Right.
Not that it was falling apart, but I was in the back of my mind was like, there'll be a lifeboat eventually.
Right.
At some point, you realize nobody's rowing up next to you to save your ass. And I think having that little bit of a conversation with yourself and truly being able to internalize it, it's not that you can't walk with people all the time. I ask you guys questions 1,000,000 times a day. But at the end of the day, I am solely responsible for that financial growth of my business, my family, whether or not we can afford to live in the house we're in.
Right.
Like all of that stuff, that's on me. You guys all have businesses you have to run to, right?
Right.
And I no longer have a budget where I can call mama and say, I need to borrow $1,000 to bail me out, right? Like if you have a couple of bad months or a bad year, that can be detrimental to your wealth. So I'm just in a place now where I recognize that I'm the one pedaling this bike.
Well, and that's sort of I think the mistake that I made jumping into it the first time. I was 24 years old, I think, or something like that. And I had just gotten through my first year in real estate. I had a really great first year, but like I was still in that phase where like I had a great year and I immediately went and bought a bunch of custom suits and a Mercedes. Right? Like I had no idea what I was doing.
Yeah.
I had no idea about building wealth. I had no idea about what I wanted my life to look like 10 years from now or how I was going to get there. Like there wasn't even any there to get to for me, right? All I knew was like if I sign up for this coaching program, they say their average agent makes $350,000 a year. In my head, I'm going, that sounds pretty good. I'd like $350,000. In reality, I would have bought a shitload more Red Bulls and a lot more suits and, maybe a black Porsche or something stupid like that, right?
Yeah, nobody would ever do something that ridiculous.
Exactly. So I wasn't emotionally or mentally savvy enough or capable of even taking advantage of a program like that I had signed up for. I got myself in way too deep solely for the fact that if you handed me $350,000 today, I know exactly what I would do with it.
Yeah.
Right? Where I would invest it, what my financial future, my financial vision is, the vision for my life, where I want to go with all this. Now I'm capable of taking advantage of a program that will help me get there. But when there's no there to get to, you're you're wasting your money and your time until you figured that out, in my opinion.
You have to have some pretty high-level personal clarity around it.
Right.
I mean, if you're going there, it's the same thing as purchasing leads. If you think that just by buying them, that all of a sudden business is going to come to you, that's not it. This is still going to be super hard.
Right.
The worst thing about getting back here on Sunday, I was super excited to see my family. It was really late, but you're out of that super nurturing environment that causes you to make all these grand decisions, right? It causes you to have so much clarity, because the second you get back into town, your phone turns back on. It's, hey, the pipe under my house collapsed. Why didn't your inspector catch that? You know, it's back to real world shit, and it's deals being kept together. So it's easy to get distracted. And you still got to get up at
5 to train for the Ironman.
That's the thing.
Well,
that's
4 o'clock.
That's the part of the day, because that's the part of this I wanted to get to. It's having clarity on my morning that is the only thing that makes this possible.
Yep.
I am up at 4 a.m. now.
Yep.
And my day starts with, and this is strictly ripped off from Adam Hergenrother's day, I just started an hour later than he does, because that maniac's up at 3 a.m. But it is, I drink a bottle of water. I don't even get on my phone. I turn the thing off, or I turn the alarm off. I drink a bottle of water. I go sit on the couch, because I'm not a focused meditator, but I just count to 100 and let the thoughts come and go. I have 5 questions that were given to me to ask myself, and I have an Evernote. I open it up. I answer all 5 of those questions every morning. I do all of my email and text message correspondence. So if you know me, you're going to start getting emails and text messages from me before 6 a.m., whatever. And then if my family was up, I would have some family time. Unfortunately, it's still a little bit too early, and I don't have enough money to have a home gym. So I have to leave to go work out. So then, you know, like, for instance, yesterday, I got to the gym 45 minutes early, rode the bike for 10 miles, and then Steven and I worked out for 45 minutes.
Nice.
Did a similar type thing this morning. That's just what it is. It's the stupid cliched thing of nobody has more time than somebody else. Some people just use it more efficiently. If you're saying that you're not going to get up before 8 o'clock, that's fine, but don't expect the shit that people get when they wake up at 4 o'clock.
100%.
By 9 o'clock, I've got so much stuff done. It's amazing.
And I mean, as people that know me personally, I guarantee you, if you see me on a day-to-day basis, you will know down to the day which days I've gotten up at 4:30 and which days I've gotten up at 7.
Yeah.
Because if I just have a late night before or whatever, I'd say about 85% of the time I'm up at 4:30. You'll know the days that I'm not.
Well, what time?
Because I'm stressed and behind.
Yeah.
What time are you going to bed now? I mean, so
I'm in bed by 9:30. So, which I didn't really change my time. So I've been pretty consistent about getting up at 5:30. So I just decided just to bite this one huge chunk.
Yeah.
And just because here's what I learned about getting up at 5:30. That wasn't that hard, because I made the 7 to 5:30 jump about a year and a half ago. And so that wasn't dramatically hard once I got in the flow of it.
Right.
So here's the thing is, it's going to suck. Stop waiting for it not to suck. It's going to suck every day for years getting up that early. You're never going to get used to it. You're never going to get used to the pain of working out. You're not going to get used to any of that stuff.
Little tip for you. It's harder than posting a meme on Facebook.
100%. Hashtag grind, hashtag hustle. You know what I mean? So I just think that's the part of it. And that's the all-encompassing thing from today is stop looking for it not to be difficult, because it just doesn't exist, you know? And you wouldn't want it to be not difficult anyways. It would be so unrewarding, you know what I mean? You'd get nothing out of it. So that's kind of where I'm at. And we're doing this every quarter. We go meet each other, but we're meeting every 2 weeks. So, I mean, I'll have a lot of juice from this Project U stuff. I'm sure you guys will see the change over the next year too. Hopefully.
I love it, man.
So what do we have coming up next week?
Ooh, next week. We got the CEO of Lion Desk coming on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, buddy.
Lion's Desk is a CRM database contact management system.
It's a great CRM, I think, for individual agents, right? We talk about Boomtown, and you know Nick's got his Devil Horns one. You know, you talk about Brivity. Those are high level team CRMs that an individual realistically doesn't need. Lion's Desk is awesome because it's affordable for a new agent.
Right.
They're surprisingly easy to get a hold of, right? Like their owner and CFO are part of their Facebook group that comment. I mean, you talk to the actual people who are making decisions in the company. So it's really, really cool. They're not just gonna come on, they're not pushing a CRM. They actually said, I told them, I was like, hey, you guys come on and pump your stuff. They're like, we don't want to do that. They're coming on to talk about what they're seeing on the market, what they're hearing from agents. It's going to be a really cool back and forth.
Yeah. He's
not going to be in studio. We'll rearrange and he'll be on that screen
we'll
behind Nick.
The TV for the first time.
Exactly. So that's going to be really cool. I mean, we've got some other people lined up to come up to that. I mean, we're just still working that out, but I'm excited for them next week.
Well,
it's going to be cool.
I've got 3 questions to ask.
Yeah.
And this is for everyone who's listening as well as you guys. The first one is, introduce us to some people. Recommend some people, whether you don't want to tag them in here, you can send us a message here on Facebook.
Yeah, this show's for you guys. Who do you want to see?
Yeah. Because we're calling him, and people are saying yes. People are coming on. It's cool.
I had, he's with Keller Williams. He's a big commercial guy. Ken Wimberly hit me up today and asked to come on. I think that'd be a cool guy to have on to talk about how real estate agents can incorporate commercial into their business without understanding commercial.
Right.
And he just came out with a cool journaling app. So we might be having him on.
We're pushing our man David Hill.
Yeah, David Hill. We need to have him on. Hopefully, we should find a way for him to fly in. I'd love for that to be in person.
Dude, that guy, after sitting with him the whole weekend, because he's in this project, I mean, it's just, he's such a great dude. I love that guy.
And then also, the other two questions are, if we were to start, and we're tossing this around, Brian, Matt, and I, any type of coaching that is affordable, because as you just heard, we weren't necessarily ready. I could go through my coaching experience on another show. If that's something that people would be interested in, just let us know. Type yes in the comments below if you are, or message us.
Type yes and let us know what you'd want it. What would you want it to encompass, right? Because we could go out and build a coaching program for you guys, no problem. We want to know what it is at every level that you guys need help with and want to learn, right? You tell us what to build and we'll build it.
Yeah.
Is the philosophy.
And that third and final question kind of relates to our show in general. I mean, this cost us money, right? And so what we're looking at doing is aligning ourselves, aligning ourselves with products that we already use. That if we could get some discounts, let's look at Lion's Desk, for example. I used to refer that out in my coaching program, or like Mojo or RedX. A Cole's Resource Realty, if we were able to line up some discounts and offer that as a product that maybe we earn an affiliate income in, is that something that you guys as our listeners would be, acceptable with, so that we could eventually recoup some of the cost of this show?
Right. And I think the cool thing is it's all stuff that we use. So as people hear us talking about it, it's the stuff we're referring to, and we get a little granular with that kind of stuff too.
We promise not to sell out.
We're definitely not selling out.
We're trying to bring value. At this point, it's not about money. It's just about bringing value.
So no sell it. So let's thank Chauncey Pham. She was tuning in today.
Yeah.
Brittany Stewart.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Kelsey Berry, Mark Benefil. He was with Adam Bailey in town last week. He was out there. That dude's awesome. We need to have him on.
He does some cool live videos too.
Yes, and he's great at hiring. So we'll figure out if we can get him on. Tori Maxwell was tuning in today. Of course, our wives, Lady, Heather, and Jennifer. And they're kind of running the Mexico trip. So we just want to thank everyone for tuning in. Share this. Again, if you love Labradoodles and Golden Doodles, if you think that's a legit dog, type 1 in the comments down below. If you think they're overrated like I do, you want to align yourselves with me. Let's type the number 2.
Nick hates dogs and he drinks mugs left-handed. He's alienating people as we speak.
I love Great Danes.
And lastly, if you want to be involved in our Mexico trip, only real estate podcast worth listening to, Summer Vacation, as a sponsor or something like that, we will shoot a Fire Festival-esque video branding your company,
wearing your swim trunks
while we're in Mexico. So give us a shout there, and we'll see what we can make happen.
All right, boys. Well, I'm excited for next week, man. Have a guest on, get to use the TV for the first time. It's gonna be fun.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you very much for tuning in. Derek, take us out, my man.